Right, I'm delighted to be joined in the downtown den today by Liddy, who is the Director for Innovation at Alder, a world-renowned hospital for children's services. But I know Claire will tell us they're involved in so much more as well. Welcome to the den, Claire.
Hi, Frank. Thank you for having me. Really pleased to be in the den today.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And of course, you know, all businesses have been challenged in recent weeks. The lockdown has been difficult for all of us, but I'm guessing for your organisation, it's been doubly, if not trebly hard during the course of the last 3 months or so.
Yeah, and I think for Alder, you know, in terms of our story, I think it's probably a little bit more unique than other hospitals across the England. So we're a children's hospital, and we, you know, are specialists in what we do. So what happens at Alder, and I don't think this happened to any of the other children's hospitals across England, is we were asked by the Cheshire and Merseyside region to help. We were really worried in the city that there wouldn't be enough beds for adult COVID patients. So where Alder felt it could help is we've got a huge critical care unit at Alder. You know, it's one of our specialities, having PICU, which is paediatric intensive care, and HDU as well. So quite early on in March, we worked with the national guidance, which was to kind of turn off basically all of the planned elective operations, and we had about a 2-week window where we needed to rapidly turn on an adult critical care unit at Alder. I was actually redeployed to that project. So as part of being Director of Innovation, they felt, because that was something, you know, quite radical that we were going to be doing, they asked me to support that project. So I took on lots of different roles over a 3-month period in terms of helping with training, getting staff fit tested for their PPE, helping get the supplies and everything we needed to open this adult unit. So we went for about a 3-week kind of accelerated programme to train up over 200 members of Alder nursing team to be ready to treat adult patients. So it was quite remarkable really what we did. And I remember the day that the first adult came over in the ambulance, and we were ready to go. So it was, you know, it was all like on fast forward, but you know, that I think that patient actually came from Leighton Hospital down in Cheshire. So over the next few weeks then, what happened is to allow us to staff, you know, an adult unit, we had to redeploy lots of staff and to move things around to keep the rest of the hospital safe. So during that time when we got adults, I think in total we got a total of 11 adults over that period, over the Easter break actually. So everybody really, you know, kind of got involved. You know, morale was good because everybody was part of problem solving. So it was a really emotional time for Alder, and I think as a hospital, we really tried to make sure everyone was involved. So we moved to the chief exec having a daily broadcast every day at 12:30, so all staff could tune in for half an hour and find out what was going on, and you could ask a question as well. So that was something new that we did, which we'd never done before, having a live broadcast every day. And I think that really helped actually, because you know, it calmed the nerves and it just got people, you know, up to speed with what was happening and how we were handling it, and all them type of information that people needed to have. It was really interesting for children because children do get COVID, but they don't have the same effects as adults. So it's quite unusual, I think, for children. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but for children to get really ill from COVID. So we've only had a handful of children who've tested positive during the last few months. And what we saw actually, which was really, really crazy to understand, is the numbers of children who turned up at our A&E department went right down. I think over the Easter period, we were down at 20 odd children a day when we normally have 180. So the whole impact of the lockdown, you know, and kids not being in school, probably not getting bugs, meant that the kids stopped coming to A&E. So that was a challenge that we never thought we'd be up against. So we had to do quite a lot of work there around communications, you know, and reaching out and making sure that information was out there for families. Because what you don't want is you know, parents keeping children at home and then, you know, not coming for urgent care.
Sure.
So that was a journey we went on. I think we're back up now to about 120 children from Liverpool coming to A&E, but that's been quite slow in terms of that ramp up. So there's some of the kind of, you know, acute challenges we had at the beginning. But then I guess over the last few months, what happened was we really started to feel the challenge around PPE. So personal protective equipment was a big challenge, a big theme. You know, and we weren't the only one. Lots of hospitals across the city were struggling to have enough PPE. So I guess with Alder Hey, you know, we turned that challenge into a big opportunity. Is what we did is we basically repurposed the innovation team at Alder Hey. So we've got, as I said to you before we started the interview, we've got an innovation centre at Alder Hey where there are about 12 members of staff who work in there dedicated on taking forward innovation in a healthcare paediatric setting. So we repurposed them to help with all of the latest problems with COVID. And having enough consumable kit, whether it be masks, whether it be visors, whether it be gowns, was something that the innovation team really turned into a big opportunity. So as part of being involved in innovation, what we do really well is we work with industry partners, we work with local businesses, SMEs, we work with universities, and we work with big businesses. So we really reached out to the community across the city. And some of the members of the LEP board as well helped us. And we basically asked them for help on how could we get local companies to help us manufacture PPE. And I think the first emergency was visors, where there was no visors, and everybody was really quite struggled with that issue. And we worked with a company, actually one that we knew well, which was up in Scotland. And they worked with some of our surgeons who were in our innovation centre, and they basically went from a design through to manufacture, through to delivery of visors. And I think we got 30,000 delivered in 6 days. And so one of the things that was really, I think, positive for Alder Hey was being able to have that impact in terms of turning businesses back on, helping business repurpose what they do into helping the NHS. So that was, you know, something we never expected, actually. So, you know, if you would have asked me 12 months ago, you know, what would I be doing in 12 months' time? I wouldn't have thought we'd be working with businesses to repurpose their manufacturing into things that help the NHS. But what was really quite remarkable was just how willing folk were to help. So that's been a big theme, and I've probably got about 5 or 6 things that we did on the manufacturing. So we did visors, we did gowns, we've done these, Frank. So we've been developing the Alder Hey mask. Oh, so we got these live in Alder Hey a week before Boris came out with the new rules. So we're working now with with others in the city council, and lots of trusts across the country to try and get these into production to stop the spread. What's lovely about this mask is it's all made in Britain. Right. So one of my personal goals, and one of the things that we did, was we really focused on keeping it local, helping, you know, the country regenerate, creating jobs, you know, and doing something which had that social responsibility. So that's became a new piece of work that I've been involved in, and it's currently taken up all my time. So in terms of what we're doing now in innovation, it's very much around, you know, helping solve problems with things like this. So I don't know whether that probably covers everything. There's probably loads more to tell you, but just to give a bit of a, you know, a few sound bites on the type of stuff that we've been involved in.
It's fascinating, Claire. And I think, you know, what you've demonstrated is that, you know, in terms of being able to react to crisis management situation, the hospital has done an outstanding job. And I think what's sort of put you in good stead for that is the fact that, you know, as an organisation, you have for many years now worked hard to collaborate, to cooperate, to have those public-private sector partnerships. You're not a place that has barriers. You do go out and get yourselves out and about, talking to other people and making those connections. So you're not contacting members of the LEP board and they're saying, Claire, who? You've got relationships with those guys already. And I think that's hugely important as we move forward, Claire, isn't it? Because prior to the lockdown, you and I were involved in a fascinating discussion around the knowledge quarter, which we've got big hopes for in Liverpool, of course.
Yeah.
And that's all about bringing that sort of risk-taking entrepreneurial spirit from the private sector, but that, you know, platform of great public sector services together to create something really special.
It is, you know, and I think, you know, it wasn't until lockdown that we realised that, you know, the way Alder Hey, you know, has grown, its culture has grown since moving into the new hospital. You know, it's an iconic building, isn't it? And the board are really clear that they want innovation to be part of the culture. And by doing that is you're giving permission for people to try stuff. And it doesn't matter if you try and fail, because actually, if you're an innovative organisation, you try stuff because you don't know until you've tried. And it was just a window of opportunity that we really had, you know, to try lots of things. Most of the stuff actually worked out well. But the board were very keen that innovation and that problem solving approach was a key part of our COVID response. And I think on reflection, it's had two impacts, Frank. I think number one, it's really give us, you know, lots of examples now of things you can get done, you know, if you put your mind to it. Yeah. And it's also given more folk in Alder Hey an opportunity to get involved in innovation. So it's been really, really positive, actually. I think there's so much to share in terms of how Alder Hey felt this is a window of opportunity where we can move forward with technology, we can move forward with digital, we can move forward with brand new clinical models of care that we probably wouldn't have ever thought of, actually. Yeah. So it has given us that window, which is fantastic. And what we're doing now is we're surfing the wave, actually. So we're in our phase 2, and there'll be more things that we want to do next. We're currently looking at moving our A&E to include a virtual A&E. It'll be the first in the UK. There's only one other one in the world, which is in the US. So it's given our clinicians that, I guess that ambition, you know, that we can do stuff, we can get stuff done. And if you want to move at pace, you can. So I think it's just, you know, in some ways, you know, I know the COVID's been a pandemic and a real negative, and I know it's going to really impact the economy in the city. But out of that, I think we can create opportunity, you know, and working together in the city around innovation with our businesses and all of our capabilities is probably what we should be doing next, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
And I think the words you used there was an interesting and an important one, which is permission, giving people permission to actually take a few risks, do things a little bit differently. And as I say, I think that, you know, Alder Hey's always been at the forefront of being a unique organisation, doing some magnificent things, of course. And as I said at the opening, you know, you are an internationally recognised brand. But in terms of moving forward, what do you think the city region can look forward to through those developments that we're all hoping happen at the Knowledge Quarter? Because as I say, before lockdown, we were motoring. But importantly, you know, it's good to see that some big investment has now been committed through Bruntwood and L&G and that partnership. So, you know, there's certainly reason to be optimistic, I think, that we can continue to develop that part of town.
Yeah, I think it's a massive opportunity for the city, and I think it's just what we've been waiting for. You know, I think, you know, folk will have different views on you know, why we're at this point in our journey as a city, but, you know, I think geography and having, you know, a place where people can co-create is quite important. And I think, you know, we're really excited in Alder Hey about the span. You know, we want to be right in the middle of that, you know, and part of the next phase of the journey. But I think, you know, where the city should be setting, you know, its kind of aspiration is we should be wanting to be the city for innovation in the UK, you know, the go-to place. You know, there isn't another city which is the brand of the city is one of innovation. And I think Liverpool has got enough about it in terms of assets and size to make that happen. So I think we should really be flying the innovation flag. We should be working together more, and we should be using, this moment of opportunity with the Knowledge Quarter opening, to get stuff done. I think what Alder Hey, really backs as a mantra is getting stuff done. I think, one of the struggles, I think, with innovation is people can talk strategy and they can talk conceptually about it. But actually, what you need to be able to do is get stuff done, get impact, done, whether it's for health services or whether it's for social care or whether it's for, other businesses. So what I'd be really promoting is when we get the spine open, and I talk to Colin about, the details, there needs to be an engine room in there of folk who can get stuff done. We need them skills, we need them capabilities, we need to make them jobs, who are people who know how to get it done. Because that's the whole thing about innovation. Other industries do it really, really well. Unilever are a great asset, again, in the city. They're globally known for innovation. So we can plug from what they do and apply it, to the Knowledge Quarter in terms of part of our approach and our mantra. And I think that's probably been one of the struggles in the city. There's not that many people dedicated to doing innovation. Right. It's in a lot of places because of, financial restraints seen as a nice to have and not a must do. Yeah. And that's the challenge. When there's no people, you're not going to get stuff done, are you? So I think that's probably where Alder Hey has made a move, and it has dedicated resource, to finding good talent and capability and innovation. So I think that's something for the city to consider in terms of its next phase, perhaps.
Yeah, I know that Liverpool's recovery plan is big on innovation, and I think it recognises those strengths and that aspirational approach that you're calling for there, Claire. And the Knowledge Quarter, of course, will be a key part and component of that, but not the only one. There's other parts of the city and city region, as you will know, that can participate and contribute to that. But before we close, I just want to talk really about what you see as the lessons that we can learn as a country in terms of our health and care services, because, take the politics out of this. Nobody can pretend that at the start of this crisis, we were prepared well enough for what we went into. And certainly that thing that you talk about being positive here in our city region of collaboration seems to me, from the outside looking in, there wasn't that relative engagement that was required between care services and health services. Those sort of things being picked up now and being talked about now?
Yeah, and I think there's for me probably two things that have been, well, there's three, but I've talked about one of them, which is innovation. But I think the collaboration across the Cheshire and Merseyside patch, has always been, something that's had its, it's had its positives, but it's also had its challenges. There are lots of organisations in Cheshire and Merseyside in health. There are 18, which I think for the geography is quite a lot, in trying to get 18, personalities, organisational personalities to work together, and that doesn't even include the social care, is hard. But I think the city and the Cheshire and Merseyside patch have come together. I think it really has been a way of creating, a vehicle to come together. So that's a definite learning and a positive about working together, and actually we're stronger together. We can get stuff done better together because we can share talent, we can share ideas, we can share resource, and we've done that really well, actually. And I think a lot of the stuff Alder Hey's done, around procurement, we have offered that out to Cheshire and Merseyside and said, sorry for my little Frenchie, as something to share. I think the second thing for me, in terms of the learning is, I don't know, this might be a little bit controversial, but I think what we've seen with COVID is a 3-week window where the digital agenda exploded. So I think I've worked in the health service since 2000, and I've never seen a thrust behind us to allow us to do digital transformation quickly. And I think that's probably a big lesson, isn't it, actually, as to why didn't we do it quickly before? What was stopping us? What was getting in the way? Why were we spending, a lot of time thinking about it rather than doing it. And I think it's been a great window of opportunity to move many services to digital platforms now, and that will never go back, which I think's great. You know, I was having a little look last night at the US to see what they're doing. They've done the same. So have Asia, you know, so the world has transformed actually. Yeah. So again, you know, I always like to put a positive spin on things. So if one thing will stay, I think, and I'm a massive backer of, it is digital transformation, you know, but it does make you wonder, you know, why on earth didn't we, you know, press the button sooner, you know.
Great. Claire, do you know, it would have been very easy for me to get somebody on from the health service to come on and have a very negative conversation today. Rather than that, you've really uplifted me. You've certainly shown us that it's glass half full. As you rightly pointed out, there's lessons that have been learned, but many positives and many opportunities going forward. And certainly, you know, we look forward to working alongside Alder Hey in the future and seeing you continue a fabulous journey in that important area of innovation, which I know you'll be leading and working with partners on, as I say, certainly through the Knowledge Quarter project, but in many other areas as well. So thanks for your contribution today.
No problem. I've enjoyed talking and telling you about a few of our stories. Thank you, Frank.
Lovely. See you again soon, Claire.
Take care. Bye now.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.